tens of millions of illegals already in this country, and millions more people who want to come, even legally, to work in this country. What do we do with these people?
I do not support a path to citizenship for anyone who entered this country illegally. I do not support amnesty. In the legislature, I voted against in-state tuition for illegal aliens. I voted, and well, I would have voted if we would have had a chance to get this passed, but we need the voter ID bill. We couldn't get that done. This week we had the prenatal bill. I voted against that bill. I believe it's important that we not offer incentives to people to enter this country illegally. As to what we do with the people that are currently here, I think that discussion needs to happen after the borders are secure, so that we don't in any way encourage more people to come across those borders believing that they might be able to benefit.
With that, Mr. Stenberg, are you in favor of a national voter ID law?
Yes, very much so. You know, the centerpiece of our representative system of government is the election process, and we need to be sure that we have an election process that is fair. The people aren't voting more than once. The dead people aren't voting as they do in Chicago and other places. That the elections are fair. And you know, to cash a check, you have to show your driver's license. And to get on an airplane, you have to show some photo ID. And I could go down the list. And it seems to me that the central function of our democratic representative government is elections. And it's not too much to ask that someone prove that they are legally here and that they are legally entitled.
Mr. Flynn, do we need a national voter ID law?
Yes, I think that's very simple to figure out. You know, I mean, there's so much dishonesty in voters in the voter situation anymore, and so that's kind of a short and sweet answer, to be real frank with you. It's just that simple. You know, having a picture ID is no big deal to all of us, and I think that's the only fair way to do it. And we do not need the way it's been going. You know, there's a lot of crime going on when it comes to voting, so I'm in favor of that.
Senator, do you believe that the president should have line item veto power?
Yes, I do. I think it's important, especially if we have a Congress that continues to do earmarks in the future, which I hope will not be occurring. But it is important for a president to have that. We have that here in Nebraska, and I think it's very helpful, and I think it helps to keep costs down, and it helps to balance that budget.
Mr. Stenberg, do you believe that the president should have line item veto power, and why?
Well, I do. I would support that. Apparently, it will take a constitutional amendment to accomplish that. They try to accomplish it legislatively, and the Supreme Court threw it out. But I do think it's a great tool. The governor of the state of Nebraska, I think the governor of almost every state in the union, with a few exceptions, has a line item veto authority, and it allows a president, if he or she is of a mind to eliminate a lot of wasteful pork barrel spending from the budget. So yes, I've long supported line item veto for the president of the United States, but that's no substitute either for a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which we also need.
Mr. Flynn, I love the way this question is worded. You know, a lot of politicians, they run for re-election, and then the election comes up, and whether they're voted to stay in there or whether they're voted out, they still have a few more months to either do their constituents' bidding or wreak havoc with the system. So the way this question is worded, will you promise not to vote for critical legislation during a lame duck session like what happened when the START III treaty was voted for and approved?
Wow, that was a big question. Well, of course I would promise not to vote for that kind of stuff. I think we have to have we have to vote and we have to work as a House and a Senate together, and we really need to work as Americans rather than against each other all day long. But no, I think it needs to be up in front of the people and just do it up front and do the right thing.
Senator, you want to tackle that issue as well?
Well, I'll be a lame duck in 3 days. And so if we do have a special session, though, on any issue that may come up, whether it's a budget issue or some kind of emergency issue, I will still be a state senator. I will still be representing my constituents and the people of Nebraska. On the federal level, unless it's an emergency of some kind, like we would see here in the state of Nebraska when you call a special session, I believe that those decisions are sometimes made because there'll be a change in the majority in Congress. And they do them for political reasons instead of for policy reasons. So I would certainly support taking action if I was a lame duck at the federal level, only for policy reasons. I think that's important.
Thank you very much, Senator, and to all of our candidates. We've reached the end of the debate. We have 2 minutes for each of you to sum up your comments today and ask these good people for their vote and talk about what sets you apart. We drew straws at the beginning of the debate to see who would speak first and also who gets the last word today. And the last word first goes to Don Stenberg, Nebraska State Treasurer.
First, last word.
Yes.
I'm running, as I said, for the United States Senate because our country's going in the wrong direction. And to change that direction, we need to repeal Obamacare. We need a balanced budget amendment to our Constitution. We need to roll back the heavy burden of federal regulations. We need to develop our domestic energy resources. We need to secure our borders. And I believe that we need term limits for members in the House and Senate of the United States. To do that, we need a Nebraska senator who will offer bold solutions to our nation's problems. We need a senator strongly committed to fundamental values who is not a flip-flopper on important issues. We need a senator whose record matches his conservative rhetoric. And we need a full-time senator who is committed to public service and not to personal financial gain while in office. In November, I will defeat Senator Bob Kerrey and send him back to New York one last time. When I pack my bag to go to Washington in January of next year, I will go for the purpose of changing Washington, not to fit right in. I will stand up to the big spenders in both political parties, and I will work with solid conservatives like Senator Jim DeMint and Senator Mike Lee, who have endorsed me, to change the direction of our nation. And I will work for limited constitutional government so that for generations to come, our flag will continue to fly over the land of the free, the home of the brave. I would very much appreciate your support for Don Stenberg for the United States Senate. Thank you very much.
Final comments now, 2 minutes from Schuyler businessman Pat Flynn.
As an investment advisor of 29 years, I don't see a safe place for money anymore in America. Then you look at the Gatling gun of regulations that's coming at all businesses from all angles. And so what I did is this. Last May, I sold my business, burned the boat, and got in this race with both feet. That's commitment, but that's desperation. The fact of it is this. If you think the same way I do as about where America's at, it's your duty too. I'm capable of doing this, so I'm doing it. I don't see where career politicians can do it. The last line of the Declaration of Independence says this. It says, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And that's a mouthful. Because really, as a businessman and an American, I see it, whether it's either their neck or ours when it gets right down to it. And I'm asking you to do the same thing as far as giving your lives, your fortunes, and your sacred honor to America and our campaign. I'm asking you, if you want to help in your precinct, amongst your family, friends, and neighbors, to talk to Laird Dirks over at our booth back there. Number 2 is to contribute contribute to our campaign financially. And number 3, some of your sacred honor with your prayers. America will make it through this if more of us actually pray, work, contribute, vote, and get others to do the same. I will be a statesman for Nebraska by using my life, business, and leadership skills. I'm Pat Flynn. I appreciate your support and vote, and God bless America.
And finally, State Senator Deb Fischer of Valentine.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting the event today, and thank all of you for being here. It's your interest and your knowledge of the issues that are so meaningful in this election. This is a very, very important election, and each of you in this room realize that. The stakes are high. I've been effective in the legislature. I've taken on tough issues. I've worked with my colleagues, and I've worked hard to build consensus on those tough issues, like capping occupation taxes, like offering tax relief, like eliminating the estate tax. We can do that at the national level too. We can do that in the United States Senate. These issues are very serious and they're very difficult. But I happen to believe that America's brighter days are in front of us. They're still ahead for us in this country. And I'd like to help solve the challenges that we face as a country. So I ask for your help, and I promise you, as I promised my constituents 8 years ago, I will work hard, I will be honest, I will serve you with integrity and dedication. And I'll roll up my sleeves and I'll fight for you in Washington, just like I have in Lincoln. Thank you.
Thankful for all of our candidates for giving up their time on a Saturday afternoon to be here. Please, a round of applause for each of our candidates. Thank you very much to the Nebraska Tea Party Patriots for putting together this event all day. Thanks so much to you for being here and being an active, involved voter. And I'm most thankful today that we didn't talk about Twitter once. Thank you very much for coming. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful Easter and Passover weekend.
That's a wrap.